Hey everybody, Jo here. How are you doing? I hope you're keeping well. I hope you had a lovely weekend. It's always nice to pop in on a Monday. You know, the beginning of the week. I think the week, it just holds so many possibilities. And I think that's the thing in life. We just have to focus on the positives and really go with that lovely possibility. I love walking Eric first thing in the morning. And, you know, before everybody else wakes up, before the gardens wake up, before when the streets are quiet and the day is just full of possibility. And I just think new day, new life. And let's just hope it's good luck for everybody. So today's little catch-up, always lovely to have a crafty catch-up with you, is all about, a couple of you been in touch and said, you're lucky, you're going away on holiday, but you're going in your caravan. And I know quite a few of you have got statics or you've got tourers. And I mean, we have our little VW camper van. I love it. Carl, me and Eric. And it's lovely when we go and I teach the workshops at Rithyn at the Dreamatorium. There's a gorgeous campsite we stop in. And even if it's just one night, it's just that night away. Tiny little space, but you know, it's amazing how much you can pack in a tiny little space. And that gets me round. You've been asking me what sort of craft supplies would I recommend? And you just want to do some crafting, but chances are, you know, some of you aren't very well. You can't spend ages making a card. So this is what I've come up with. And I hope you like it. A lovely moody design, but we're going to use a pack of our fabulous new Scene-Scapes. Now, I'm going to bring them in. I'm just going to get rid of the packaging because we get the glare. But I want to check the name because you know me. And this is called Magic 2. Now, you get 4. We'll move this one out of the way. You get 4 in a pack. And they're all the same. And I think these are perfect to take away to the caravan with you because then you can just stamp them up. But also, a couple of you I've been in hospital recently and had operations, and it's how to start crafting again after. Well, again, for me, these are ideal. Now, if you don't want 4 the same, why not you buy a pack and your friend buy a pack and swap and have 2 out of each pack each? You know, lots of alternatives, and I'm just giving you the heads up, fabulous for Christmas designs. If you want to get a few Christmas designs done and in the bag, just saying. I mean, there's all different sizes, different shapes. Have a look. Some really cute small ones which make great toppers. So this is what I started off with. And as I say, this one is, what did I say? Magic 2. I've thrown the packaging on the floor next to Eric. Yes, Magic 2. And yes, I literally do forget that quickly. So we're going to start with some stamping. And as I say, for me, these fabulous. And they're not, although they look quite shiny, they're quite matte, so they take stamping really well. And I'm going to start with the group Poppy. The thing is, I wanted to use the gorgeous new poppy dwellings and poppy lodges, the seed heads from the poppies. So I thought this gorgeous garden poppy would match beautifully. And I'm just going to use my Versafine Clair, the black, the Nocturne, and we'll stamp our main poppy right in the middle over the moon. So we've got a focal point. Now again, little tip, keep one hand on the block and just let that ink soak in. It will soak in well to the card, but for me, just give it good chance to soak right in and then lift it straight up and you hear that, and that's a good sound. And look at that, stamps beautifully. So next, this one's from the Poppy Dwellings. And again, I've just angled it slightly on my block. Sorry, excuse me. My throat's just a bit tickly today, but it happens. So I'm thinking we're going to pop this one this side. And again, I'm going to hold this down, but with it being an open stamp, so it's not a silhouette like the garden poppy, so I feel I don't need to hold it down as long, look. And I'm just going to give that a wipe with a damp cloth and then my inky binky. And then I'm going to take that off the block and come in with the other little head. And this is from the Poppy Lodges. And this one I'm going to angle this way. Let me check. Yes, that's correct. it does mess with my head when I have to work out which way to angle it. And I'm sure I'm not the only one. And this one I'm going to put here at that nice little angle. Again, give that a wipe, pop it back on there. And then I'm going to come in with, and this is a gorgeous stamp off the group poppies. And it's this little, almost like the other seed heads, the buds before they open. Can't get my words out today. You know what I mean, it's this one. Do you ever have days like that? We took the grandchildren, the boys, to school. They had a sleepover and we took them to school this morning. And Jensen needed to go and have a little piddle before he went to school. And I said to Elliot, it's so warm. I wanted to say, we'll go and wait outside while your brother nips to the toilet. And my words got completely mixed up in my head. And I said, your brother needs to nip outside to the toilet. Well, Elliot thought it was hilarious. Now, is it just me, or does that ever happen to you? Please tell me I'm not the only one. Right, I'm just doing that with the 3. I like the 3. And, you know, straight away I knew, and I just said, oh, Elliot, Grandma said it must be Grandma's age. Those words, they're all the right words, but they just didn't come out in the right order. Grandma didn't mean that at all. Well, we went outside and he couldn't wait for Jensen to come out so he could tell him what Grandma had said. So we've got this so far. Back to the crafting, because I'm sure you don't need to know any more with the way my silly head works. I like that, and I love the black and the striking, but I want to bring in the lovely orchard grass and some of these almost purpley hues. So I had a look through my Versafine Clair and I went for Very Peri. And it's just to bring in, look, and you see how that colour tone, it really matches. So again, look at your Versafine Clairs, look what colours you've got. But if you were doing all 4 of these, you would only need possibly your black ink pad and say this Very Peri, or even like a baby pink, a couple of colours. You could even bring the green. I reckon the verdant would look nice. But you could get a different look then. If you stamped the green, I think it will bring the green tones out. Right, I'm going to stop there. I don't want to overcook it. But I love that colour. And then what I'm going to do is just along the bottom here, we've got this stamping and it looks a bit awkward to me. So we've got ivy in the background. So I've got a lovely stamp called Climbing Ivy, and it's got a large stamp and a smaller stamp. So I'm going back to the black, and just in that smaller stamp, I'm just going to cover the base there. And if I can just bring that up to show you, so you see how it just blends in well. And then with my mini flutter, just going to stamp my gorgeous butterfly. Now I've already stamped one and cut one out, so don't worry, you don't have to watch me cut out. We've got one ready. And that's all the stamping we're going to do, so we'll give that a blot. Just seeing if I've got a clean piece of copy paper. But obviously look at that. I think that's one I cleaned my brayer with. But I can see some hills there, so I'm thinking that would make a lovely background. So that's all your stamping done, and now we can add some lovely little finishing touches. So I'm going to come in with my clean colour pens, and I've got a selection here. So on the butterfly, I used the beautiful English Lavender, which was 803. But for the poppies, I'm just going to come in first with number 34, Dull Blue. And just on these highlights here, I just want to bring in, now you could have a red poppy, but I was thinking with these lovely lavendery colours, I could make mine a Mecanopsis poppy. So I'm just going for those lovely blue tones there. And then for the lovely heads, I've gone for number 50, which is yellow, number 67 mustard, and number 60, which is brown. And because I'm using the yellow, I'm actually going to put the middle of my poppy. I know often the black, but this is artistic license. I wanted to bring some yellow in. So I'm just going to add some yellow at the top here. And then I'm going to come in with my darker brown next. And just where I would have shade under there and round here, look, this would all be in shade. And the same here under there and then a little bit here. But then with my mid brown, and I can just now blend that lighter brown and that darker brown. Now again, it might be you want to use your pencils and just spend time colouring. I mean, again, if you're at the caravan relaxing, it would be lovely. Obviously, I'm conscious we're just having a catch-up, so I'm using this beautiful Zig Clean colour. And then I'm going to just come back in with the yellow, just to do that extra blending. I've got a bit of a harsh line there, so I'll pick a little bit of the light brown up, just to blend that colour out. And the same on here. But I love the way it just captures those tones beautifully. And I think we can just make this a little bit darker, really give that oomph in that little bit. Right, lids back on. I think that's the dark brown. And then really it's just some lovely finishing tricks. So pastel pencils here, and I'm just going to add a little bit, just a bit more under here. And again, just going to give it a quick smudge. And for the lovely moon here, I love this colour. So I've gone for my next, in my box, I've got white and then I've almost got this off-white. So I'm sort of going to add a bit of the off-white here. But I just think that's lovely. Look at the size of my white. You can tell which is my most popular colour, can't you? And I'm just going to blend that and put a little bit of white around it. But it just adds that nice extra tone in the moon look. Now it might be you wanted to add more of the blue, but it's up to you. But look at what you've got and you can see how you can bring the extra bits in. Next, we've got the lovely Signo, the Uniball pen. So we can add just a few more little highlights on the poppies. Maybe just down the stem. And I don't like to overcook it with my highlights. But what I am going to do is bring in my Zig, the Mangaka, the Opaque. And I want to add a little bit in the moon. So just a line and a couple of dots. Now, the other thing with this is you can add a dot in the middle of each of these beautiful orbs if you wish. And again, it just makes them highlight even more. If you wanted to add more orbs, you could add some more, look. And it's up to you. You can decide how many orbs and how many highlights you want. Again, I just don't like to overcook it, but we're all different. You add to what extent you wish. Now, I'm going to add one of my lovely sentiment stickers, and I think the white will show up beautifully on this. Although I seem to have got one of the vintage ones on here. Now, oh, you know what I'm like. I think I'm going to put Just Because on here. And you know what? I think that's lovely. And we've created this design just because. And yeah, I think up here just in there. And I'm going to add some Stickles Glitter Glue. And I was looking at the colours. We often use the beautiful glittery ones, but there's a lavender. And I thought this will bring those lavender tones out. So as always, it can be a bit rude. Oh, did you hear that? That was a bit rude. So do excuse me. I'm going to pop it on my mat and just an empty Stickles brush. I'm just going to pick it up, look. And I'm going to just dab it on where I've got our lovely orchard grass. And again, just to show you these beautiful scenescapes take the stickles beautifully. See, again, I nearly forgot the word for stickles then. Honestly, what am I like? Maybe I need new batteries. Do you know, if only we could do that. Do you ever feel like a day when you just wake up and you think, do you know what, I need a new battery today? I'm sure I'm not the only one. But you know what, if I can make this on a day like that, well, now because this is the purple one, I'm just going to give it a bit of a wipe, again, just with a damp cloth, and then just clean the nib on my Inky Binky. I don't normally with my Stickles brush, but because that was purple, then that's nice and clean for the next one. So my lovely butterfly, which, do you know what? I cut it out so it was all ready and I've put it down somewhere safe. Oh, there we go, I found it. And a little tip here, I don't cut the antennae. And also, when it comes to the glue, I've discovered if I put glue on the back, my hand sometimes I drop it. So I find with the bippity boppity glue, if I actually put it on the card, on the topper, where I want, then it's easier for me to actually take the butterfly and just pop it down in the right place. And then finally, some white splats. Now again, I left these till the end because I want to put them over the top of the butterfly, but also I put them over the top of the glitter. For me, it works well. I would always do these last. And it's up to you. If you're not keen on these, leave them off. I just think with those lovely white orbs, again, a good shake, and then I'm going to put them over the butterfly and then just follow and put them round the orbs, look, so you can see that beautiful grouping. Got some orbs there. Now this would be gorgeous. If you want a card with one of our beautiful fairies, you could just stamp the fairy with the magic orbs around. So I'll give this a little wipe. We might just have a few splats on the mat, little splatters, so we'll wipe those up, keep a nice clean space, and then I'll just bring this a little bit closer to show you, and look at the way those orbs really shine. So I hope you enjoyed that, and a little tip, as I say, if you're going to be going away somewhere, or you want a little project to do, and you don't want to use a lot of supplies, maybe just order yourself some of the Scene-Scapes and have a look at all the different sizes and the different patterns. Got some gorgeous mini ones. So if you're into making mini designs, do you know what? You have a look. But I just think, for me, beautiful card designs. And you know, I've still done it. I've still stamped it. And these are ideal if you just haven't got time to make a lovely background like that. So thanks as always for popping in. Enjoy your evening. You take care of yourselves and I'll see you again tomorrow. Until then, love and hugs from me. Bye for now.